Hey guys, it's Will from the Back 40, and I wanted to tell you about an incredible event I attended tonight as part of Farmade. For all of you that have followed me for a while, you know that I talk a lot about agroforestry. I've been an agroforester, and I've used these techniques on my own farm. And tonight, I got to visit a farm here in Minnesota, just outside of Minneapolis, St. Paul, that raises chickens in an agroforestry environment. And I wanted to show you guys this beautiful farm. And one of the things I wanted to stress as I'm showing you this farm is you hear me talk quite regularly about the fact that this would be a great way to get new young farmers into farming. Because the way our new farmer programs are set up right now, we set young farmers up with a massive amount of debt, usually in the livestock area or in the row cropping area. And because of the equipment costs, and in livestock, because of the cost of getting them set up with the herds that they need, it can lead to a lot of debt. And what that does is it sets them up for failure in the event that there's a bad year. And in farming, there's always a bad year. This farm is a smaller farm. I can't remember the exact number of acreage, but just looking at it, I would say it's probably somewhere around 40 to 80 acres. And it's an agroforestry and livestock operation. In agroforestry, we would probably call it silvopasturing, and that's where you have an agroforestry environment where you're actually raising animals as well. So you're going to see in the background here, these are the chicken barns, and these are animal friendly, environmentally friendly. Chickens have a lot of room to roam. They're actually able to go outside and forage in the open pasture. And then the other thing that they've done, I'm going to show you here, these are hazelnuts. These are hazelnut trees that have been planted here in the agroforestry operation. And the chickens are actually able to come outside of these poultry barns, and they're able to scratch and peck and get the insects and worms and everything else they need in this agroforestry environment. And it is a beautiful, beautiful place. I want you to look at this forest back behind me here. Isn't that amazing, guys? It is so beautiful out here. And this is a standard new way of farming that could be a way for us to get new young families into farming without setting them up for failure because of the huge amount of debt that we're saddling new farmers with. The other thing it would be really good for is getting people into farming that haven't inherited land, etc. Because you could set a family up on 40 acres in an agroforestry, silvopasturing situation like this, and do it for a lot less money than if you were to set them up on a standard 200, 300, 400 acre farm with, large livestock operation or row cropping. But that's silvopasturing. So all of these hazelnut trees here have animals in the form of poultry, chickens, that are grazing, scratching, eating worms and insects, etc. in between these trees. We listened tonight, one thing that was really cool as a farmer that I thought was great, we listened tonight to a professor from one of the local universities that did a study here in this agroforestry operation. And they did a study between parts of the farms where they have hazelnuts, where chickens are not free ranging in that area, and another part of the farm where they are. And the symbiotic relationship between the chickens and the hazelnuts actually do better in the free range situation where the chickens are because of the manure from the chickens and the pests that the chickens clean up when they're out doing their thing. But it's just an incredible operation. And this is the type of thing that we could be putting federal dollars into and changing policy to orient future farmers into this type of farming. Not everything has to be massive acreage, mass livestock, mass row crop production. We could be producing at levels like this and getting new people into farming. But let me just show you overall. Let me do a quick pan here of the entire farm. Just a beautiful place, as you guys can see. Those are the poultry barns. Another thing, and I know a lot of you will appreciate this, the animals are treated really well here. Unlike a lot of the huge, large-scale poultry operations that are run by the big chicken companies, and there are, I think, 4 that control pretty much the entire market, these animals free range. They will come into the barn. It's funny, it started to rain while we were here, and it looked like a bunch of school kids running in from the playground. They poured into the barns to get out of the rain, but that's the key. They have plenty of space, plenty of room to move around in. And guys, they cooked a meal for us with the chickens that they raise here, and take it from a fat boy, the best chicken I've ever had in my life. I don't think I've ever eaten chicken before, because what I had tonight was not chicken. It was manna from heaven in the form of a drum leg. So I just wanted to show you, I know I've promised in the past that we would do some content from farms, and we've been so caught up in fighting for better healthcare and better schools and better ag policy that we haven't had an opportunity to do as much farm content as we wanted to. But this is a great opportunity to show you that. Salvatierra Farms in Minnesota, doing it the right way in a beautiful environment. Another thing I'll tell you, without getting too esoteric, is that it's really peaceful on this farm. And I've told you guys stories before from when I was a kid growing up on a farm in Missouri, that one of my favorite things about growing up was on the farm was the time I got alone just in nature and with the animals that we owned, and just being able to enjoy that time and contemplate, etc. But this farm is a great place to do that. So I hope you like what you see, and let's start talking to our policymakers about getting folks started in this type of farming. Have a great day, guys.